Now, I just referenced a gun site. So again, that wasn't something that you saw on the driveway, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, and you didn't have an occasion to actually touch the gun site,
No,
to your knowledge.
no.
Okay. Just to make sure, as far as contamination and whatnot, the defendant in this case is Davion Thompson. You didn't have any contact with Davion Thompson that day, did you?
No, I didn't.
And you didn't have contact. You haven't had contact with him prior to that day.
Not to my knowledge.
All right. Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Questions, Mr. O'Farrell?
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, when you responded, it appeared from the video that there were already officers standing near the body.
There were.
So you were not the first on the scene,
Correct.
but you described getting there within 3 minutes. Was it your understanding that all of the officers were responding to the same call?
Yes.
So they probably hadn't been there too long. They just beat you. Would that be your understanding?
Correct.
Now, it appeared in the video that in the area of the body, there was a white fabric. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Did you see it on the video?
I did in the video, yes.
Okay. Did you notice any non-police officers right in the area at the time of your arrival?
Not that I noticed.
Okay. Now, your particular role here, because of your background, you immediately went to the assistants to see if the person who had been shot could be helped. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So that's entirely your focus. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, it is.
Now, with the other police officers, is it the protocol or the standard practice of the Saginaw Police Department to like divide up the tasks when you get to a scene? So one officer is doing what he's supposed to do and the other officers are all acting in concert.
It's very common to kind of delegate and assign individuals certain tasks.
Okay. So you mentioned you were asked several times about a gun site and you indicated you hadn't observed it because you were focused on what you were doing.
Correct.
So you don't know anything about any gun site. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it is.
Now, there were evidence of gunshots, physical evidence that you discovered also in association with your examination of Mr. Parham. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
And that was in connection with his clothing.
Correct.
In other words, these were objects that were within his clothes and then they became apparent when he was being transported or when he was taken and his clothes were removed at the hospital.
Yes.
Do you remember which?
Which?
Whether it was when his clothing was removed at the hospital or was it just fell out when he was being transported?
While we were dealing with him, we had used scissors to cut up the front of him. And so when we moved him from the stretcher to the bed at the hospital, all the clothing was peeled back so that there was nothing interfering at the hospital. So it was from the transition from the stretcher to the hospital bed is where everything remained on the stretcher.
Okay. And those were evidence of spent ammunition, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And it's probably obvious, but a bullet, when it's fired, that's what we call being spent. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
And prior to being fired, the bullet is contained within a casing. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So a casing would be you found no casings in the area that you observed.
Not that I observed, no.
And I believe the exhibits that were seized, I believe they were marked 58 or 57, 58, 59, 60, and 61.
That's correct.
Those were all located as you've just described, as you folks dealt with the clothing to try to assist this man.
Yes.
There was some radio traffic that we saw in that video about a black Charger believed to be involved. Did you hear that today?
Yes, I did.
You were not involved in any part of the investigation relating to that Charger, were you?
No, I wasn't.
And you fully described to the jury today what your role was.
Yes, I did.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Fedora?
Your Honor, just some brief follow-up again.
All right.
So Sergeant, just to clarify, your role during this response was just the medical assistance, correct?
That was my involvement, yes.
All right. You weren't involved in evidence collection.
I was at the hospital, but initially on scene, yes.
At the scene, you weren't collecting evidence?
No, I wasn't.
All right. And you weren't investigating at the scene and looking for evidence?
No, I
correct?
wasn't.
Okay. Thank you. Your Honor, the people who just moved or offering to evidence would have been marked as people 57, 58, 59, 60, and 61, and also people 20 and 20.
Mr. O'Farrell.
I have no objection.
Exhibits 20, 21, 57 through 61 will all be admitted. Any other questions, Mr. O'Farrell?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You may step down. And call your next witness, Mr. Fedora.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people would call Brenda Long.
Ms. Long, come forward and be sworn, please. And proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Long. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Thank you. Could you please state your full name, spelling first and last?
Brenda Long,
And how do you spell your first name
BRENDA
and your last name?
LONG.
Thank you. And I never asked you this before, but do you also go by Mookie?
That's my nickname.
All right. Now, so I'm going to ask you a series of questions and just do your best to answer. If there's something that you don't understand, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
And you've been through this before, I know, and it's a tough subject, but we just have to go through it again today. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to ask you about Antonio Parham. Now, could you just tell the jury, what was your relationship with Mr. Parham?
That was my boyfriend.
All right. And you two had a child together?
Yes.
And she, correct?
Yes.
When was she born?
May 24th.
Is that
2018.
2018?
Yes.
All right. Now, and do you recall being with him on the day that he passed away?
Yes.
I'm just going to ask you a few questions about that in a minute. First, do you recall where you were residing around that time?
Yes,
And are you able to give the address?
522 South Bond Street.
And that's in Saginaw?
Yes.
All right. I'm just going to show you a couple of photos. If you can let me know if you recognize these. For the record, Ms. Long, I'm showing you what's been marked as People's Exhibit 20, 21. And I recognize. If we could just
Yes, I recognize it.
raise that.
Driveway. The driveway in the back of.
It's out.
Yes. Yes.
Right. 20. That shows.
Yes. Yes. Drive the drive.
All right, just after.
You may.
All right, Ms. Long. Now I'm gonna ask you some questions about that particular day. Now, and again, just try and keep as close as you can to the microphone, speak up and try and speak into the microphone, okay?
Okay.
Now, do you remember the specific day that Antonio was shot?
Yes.
And what day was that?
January 27, 2018.
Okay. And so you were still pregnant with your daughter at the time?
Yes.
Now, and did you call him Antonio or Tony?
I called him by his real name or Tony.
Okay. And do you recall, was Antonio living with you at that time?
Yes.
All right. And so let's go back to the morning of January 27th. Do you recall, did you get up with Antonio?
Yes.
All right. And what did you do when you got up?
He got up, started talking a little bit, and then he ended up getting on the phone.
Okay. And you say getting on the phone, was he
Yeah.
talking on the phone?
Talking.
And sorry, you said talking?
Yes.
And was he doing anything else on the phone? Some people communicate by text message or whatnot. Was he doing that at all?
Eventually, he was texting somebody.
Okay. And while he was talking on the phone, were you able to get an idea of who he was talking to?
He was talking to me.
All right.
Damon.
And is that Damond Bell?
Yes.
And what can you say about Mr. Bell's relationship to Antonio?
They were very close.
Okay. Were they related or just friends?
I'm not sure if they were actually related. They used to call each other bro, cousins. So I don't know.
Okay. So sometimes people call each other cousins, but it's just because they're good friends. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Now, did you get a sense of what they were talking about at that time?
They were talking about smoking marijuana before Mom went to work.
All right. And about how long did that go on, Antonio being on his phone?
I don't know how long.
All right. Now, did you end up seeing Damond that day?
Yes, he ended up coming over.
And approximately how long after you got up, do you recall?
I think like 10 minutes after.
Okay. Now, did Damond come to the house then?
Yes,
And did you see Damond there?
yes.
And did you talk to him at all?
I said hi to him.
Okay. But Antonio was talking to him, correct?
Yes.
All right. And did you get an idea what the conversation was?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Well, it's already been asked and answered too, so. I'll sustain the objection.
Okay, thank you. Was during this period of time, was Antonio still on his phone while he was with Damond?
Yes,
Was he talking or was he texting? Do you know?
I'm texting.
And did you have any idea as to who he was texting?
No,
Okay. You didn't get a look at his phone or anything like
No.
that? And about how long were Damond and Antonio at the house?
like probably 6 minutes, and they ended up leaving.
All right.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I couldn't.
Can you speak a little louder, Ms. Long?
For like 6 minutes, and then they ended up leaving.
Okay. And what part of the house did they leave?
Well, they left. Well, I lived on like side. That's where I stayed.
Okay. Is there just one door exiting the residence?
Yes,
All right. And what part of the property does that go to? Does that go to the driveway or the sidewalk?
the driveway.
Okay. So once they left, did you see either of them again?
No,
All right. That's the last time you saw Antonio alive, correct?
yes.
Now, what did you do after they left?
After they left, I was watching TV, and 20 minutes after that, I started hearing gunshots. Like,
And sorry, I'm gonna have to have you again, just keep close to the mic and can you repeat what you said? You were watching TV and then what happened?
after that, I heard multiple gunshots.
Okay. And sorry, that was 20 minutes after Damond and Antonio had left?
Yes,
Okay. And what room were you watching TV in?
in my room.
Your bedroom?
Yes,
And are there windows?
yes.
And can you tell the jury what can you see out of the windows?
Well, like you could see, like you can't really see the driveway, but like you
The
across the
street?
street, like the street.
Okay. But you can't see the driveway that we're seeing on the photo.
No,
Okay. And so when you heard the shots, you couldn't see the driveway, bottom line.
right.
And when you heard the shots, what did you do?
I had got down on the floor.
Okay. So you got down on the floor.
Yes,
And did you stay on the floor for very long or how long did you stay?
I stayed down until I didn't hear the gunshots anymore.
All right. And then did you notice anything after that?
No,
No. Okay. What did you do after? So you got up at some point,
yes.
and at that point, what did you do?
After that, I heard a knock on my door,
All right. And then what did you do?
and I went to go answer the door, and it was my neighbors telling me that he was shot. Antonio was shot.
Okay. And when your neighbor came to the door, was there anything about her demeanor you can describe? How she was acting? Was she excited? Was she angry?
She was panicking.
Panicking?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, what did she say?
She says, Antonio's been shot.
And then after hearing that, what did you do?
I went outside, and that's when I saw him laying on the ground.
Okay. And then approximately how much time between you seeing Antonio on the driveway and you hearing the shots? Do you recall?
No, I don't remember.
Was there anyone else in the driveway when you got there?
The police was outside.
Okay. So at the time you got out, police were already there?
Yes,
And was there anybody else, any non-police officers at the time?
besides neighbors, no.
Were the neighbors right in the driveway? Or just the police officers?
Just the police.
Now, after hearing the gunshots, was there anything else you heard
No,
that you recall?
no,
Okay. You don't recall hearing anything else?
no.
All right. Is it possible that you did hear something, but you're just not recalling it today?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation. It's possible that we all could remember.
I sustain the objection.
And Your Honor, just for clarification, my understanding is Ms. Long is saying she doesn't recall hearing anything else. May I use an exhibit to refresh her recollection?
Okay.
Thank you. I'm showing you what's part of a transcript from the trial testified in. This is page 60 and 61 of the record. You could skip down to line 24 and read that to the bottom page of 60, and then read the first line of the top page.
For yourself.
Without answering the question I asked before, but that helped refresh your recollection.
Yes,
I'll ask the question. After you got hired, I'll hear
yes. Heard a car speeding off.
all him.
No, It was more than one. It was more than one.
Now, I had asked you some questions, Ms. Long, about Antonio. You indicate he was on his phone. Do you recall his phone number at the time?
No, I don't remember it.
The second trial. Read from line 3. So, page 17, that page there, line 3.
Yes. 989-714-5011.
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't hear that.
Would you repeat your question, answer?
989-714-5011.
Now, Ms. Long, just final questions. Defense counsel had asked you before about whether you were aware of anyone who wanted Antonio dead or wanted revenge towards him. Were you aware of that?
I haven't asked any questions.
Sustain the objection.
Apologize, Your Honor. Let me just rephrase the question. Were you aware, or did you have any reason to believe that there was anybody who wanted Antonio dead?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
Questions, Mr. Ofer?
Thank you. As long the address that you were living at then was a Bond Street address. It was 522 South Bond, is that right?
Yes.
But the driveway actually fronted onto Lion Street, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. In other words, the street that your address showed onto, the driveway was on the street right, running perpendicular.
Yes.
Okay. And it was that driveway where you observed Antonio laying, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, are you sure that it was talking on the phone between he and Damond about Damond coming over?
Yes.
So that was a conversation that you could overhear a part of it, right?
Yes.
And then it was your understanding from what you heard that they were gonna get some marijuana and smoke it before Damond had to go to work, is that right?
Yes.
And then after that, you say that you heard or observed Antonio texting,
Yes.
but you have no idea who he was communicating with.
No,
But then it was several minutes after that that Damond and Antonio left the house.
yes,
Do you know how Damond got there?
he drove there.
Okay, so he had his car.
Yes,
Did you see where he had parked his car or where the car was?
he parked it in the driveway.
The same driveway we're talking about?
Yes,
Okay. And then do you know when Damond and Antonio left the house, did they also get in the car and leave the area?
yes,
And then, and I'm not asking you to guess based on what happened, but did you see or observe them yourself come back?
no,
Okay. So you don't know how long they were gone?
no,
Would you have had any personal knowledge as to the location of where they were going to get the marijuana that they wanted to smoke?
no,
Uh, You were asked today if you remembered Antonio's phone number. You recall just testifying to that?
yes,
And you couldn't remember today, but you looked at some paper that had a phone number on it. Is that right?
yes,
Does that trigger your memory that you're now sure that that was the phone number that Antonio had at the time? Or is that the phone number that you testified about in that paper?
that's the number he had.
Okay. And when you testified to that phone number, that was in a previous trial of this case in March of this year, is that right? The second trial?
Yes,
And then your memory was also used to refresh from the first trial in this case, is that right?
yes,
When you read those papers, did that refresh your memory about the event itself or just what you had testified to in that first trial?
that's what I had testified to.
Okay, so you still don't remember today for sure, but you know that you testified that way when you were under oath the first time.
Yes,
You think your memory may have been better? And that first trial was back in November of 2019, is that right?
I believe so. Yes,
Do you think your memory might have been better then than it is after all of this time?
yes,
Each of these times, including today, you've been under oath and sworn to tell the truth, right?
yes,
And you've attempted to do so each time, is that correct?
yes,
So you're not aware of any threats involving Antonio Parham prior to his being shot?
no,
Did you have any knowledge of either he or Damond being armed on the morning that Antonio was shot?
no.
I have no further questions.
Anything else, Mr. Fedora?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
As long as you may step down. Are your next witness, Mr. Fedora?
People call Damond Bell. And Your Honor, is it okay to leave exhibits 20 and 21 on the monitor?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I'm for to be sworn right here, Mr. Bell.
And Your Honor, just for the record, I just want to inquire with the court. Mr. Bell is wearing a mask. Does the court want Mr. Bell to remain wearing a mask?
Mr. Bell, if you can take your mask off just so we can hear you clearly.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bell, could you please state your full name, spelling first and last?
Damond Bell, Damond Bell.
And just to get right to it, you knew an Antonio Parham, correct?
Yes,
All right. And you were with him the day that he was murdered, correct?
yes.
All right. I'm just going to ask you a few questions about that, okay?
Okay.
Now, how did you originally know Antonio?
He was like my cousin, childhood friend, basically.
Since childhood, you'd known him?
Yeah.
And did you refer to him as something other than Antonio?
My cousin, man.
Okay. Did you ever call him Tone?
Yeah.
Now, do you recall seeing Tone or Antonio on the day that he was murdered? Do you recall what time you first saw him?
It was probably around like 11, probably 10, 11, around that time.
Okay. You don't recall exactly when,
No.
but it was sometime in the morning.
Yeah, it was in the morning, yeah.
Now, prior to actually having face-to-face contact with him, did you communicate with him that morning?
Yeah, we talked on the phone for about an hour.
Okay. So you called Antonio or he called you?
I don't remember that part, but all I know is we talked.
Okay. And what were you saying to Antonio? Do you recall? Generally.
We was just having a conversation. We talked to each other almost every day. I don't remember what we talked about.
All right. And when you came over to his house, do you recall the address he was staying?
No, I don't know the address. I just know where it's at.
Okay. If you saw a photograph of where he lived at the time, would you recognize it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Bell, if you look over towards the monitor here, People's Exhibit 20 is shown. Does that look familiar to you?
Yes.
All right. And then this is People's Exhibit 21. Does that also look familiar to you?
Yes.
All right. So what is 20?
You said that's the house.
That's the house where Antonio was staying?
Yeah.
Okay. And then 21?
That's the driveway.
Now, when you got so when you got to the house, you met up with Antonio. What was the plan from there as far as you were concerned? What were you guys going to do?
We was gonna smoke before I went to work.
And what were you going to smoke?
Marijuana.
Okay. And did you have any there, or did you have to get some?
We went to go. We was gonna go get some, but he told me to turn around.
Okay. Well, let's kind of take a step back
All right.
first. Did you contact someone to get some marijuana, or how did that work?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Was Antonio also contacting someone?
I don't remember. All
Okay.
I know is he told me to turn around.
All right. Was he, and sorry, let's just go back to when you were in the house with Antonio before you went to look for weed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just referring to that period of time. Do you recall Antonio ever being on the phone?
No. No.
knows your answer?
Yeah,
Okay, so you don't recall him being on the phone?
no.
All right, Your Honor, if I can approach the witness.
All right.
So, Mr. Bell, I'm just going to have you read. So that's page 31. This is from the second trial, the last trial you testified at. And if you can read from line 8 down to the end of the page and just read that to yourself. After you read that, Bell, does that help refresh?
I think it said the same thing I just said. I don't know. He could have been talking or he could have been texting. I don't know.
And I'm not asking you what the transcript says. I'm asking you whether that refreshes your recollection as to whether you saw Antonio actually on the
okay.
phone. Okay, so do you remember at this time?
Yeah, he was either scrolling on Facebook or texting. He wasn't on the phone.
Okay.
You asked me, was he on the phone?
So he wasn't, just to clarify, he wasn't talking on the phone.
No.
All right, but he had his phone in his hand.
Yeah.
And he was doing something with it.
Yeah.
Okay, and that could have been texting.
Yeah.
Or that could have been on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how did you get to Antonio's house?
I drove there.
And what kind of car was it?
Impala.
Sorry?
Impala.
Okay. And after you guys had been in the house for a while, did you eventually venture out then? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
All right. And approximately how long were you at the house before you guys left? If you remember. If you don't remember, that's fine.
I could say about probably 10 minutes.
All right. And then where did you go once you left the house?
We were going to go get some marijuana.
And do you know like the street you drove up?
I ain't saying all that.
Okay. Sorry, do you remember the street you drove on?
No.
No? Okay. And let me clarify, you drove?
Yeah. Yes.
And while you were driving, do you remember what Antonio was doing?
On his phone. I mean, probably scrolling through his phone.
Okay. And now you testified earlier about turning around. So how far did you go before you turned around?
We dang there. We was in front of the house. She told me to turn around, so that's what I did.
Okay. And then after you turned around, what did you do?
We went back to his house.
And his house being Antonio's house?
Yes.
Okay. So what we have here is People's Exhibit 20 on the screen. That's where you returned to?
Yeah.
All right. Now, did you park the car around the house?
Yeah, I parked the car in the driveway.
In the driveway? Did you drive forward or backward?
In.
You backed into the driveway?
Yes.
All right. And just looking at, again, Exhibit 20, how far did you back in? Did you back in all the way to that fence there, or how far back?
All the way to where the driveway led me to stop at.
All right.
Allowed me to stop at.
Okay. And then what did you and Antonio do once you were there?
We sat in the driveway for a little while. And I guess somebody pulled up.
Okay. And so eventually somebody pulled up.
Yeah.
And do you know what kind of car it was?
It was a Charger.
All right. And do you remember the color?
Black Charger.
Okay. Anything else about the car that you can
It was just a
describe?
black Charger.
I'm just going to show you what has been marked as light. Similar.
I guess, yes.
That's page, sorry, that's exhibit 50. Again, that was light.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess.
Can't recall or you can't testify that it's actually car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when the Charger pulled in, did it pull in head first? Did it back in?
Head first.
And then you're backed in, so you're looking straight at the Charger, and then the Charger's windshield is towards you,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And was there anything about that car, any obstructions as far as you being able to see inside?
Oh, it was just tinted, darked out. It was black.
All right. Was the front windshield tinted?
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't remember?
Like, I don't remember. I know it was tinted. I don't remember if the front windshield was tinted. I don't remember that.
Okay.
But
Do you recall how far the Charger pulled into the driveway?
not all the way. Not all the way.
Okay. So
Like
approximately
a little
how
bit
far?
past the sidewalk.
Pardon me?
A little bit past the sidewalk.
Okay. So looking at the photo, can you approximate how many feet approximately the front of the Charger would be from the front of your Impala? Would you be able to approximate?
No.
Okay. And if you can, Mr. Bell, just wait until I'm finished the question so
All
we
right.
don't mix up you answering and my question. Thanks a lot. Now, what did you do when the Charger pulled in?
I was on my phone.
Okay. You didn't get out of your car or move. You just kept
Yeah.
up with what you're doing.
Yeah, I was just on my phone.
Okay. And then did you notice what Antonio did?
He got out the car. He got out the car.
And where did he
Walked
go
up
from
to the
there?
car. I just started looking at my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Antonio headed in what direction? Towards what?
Towards the Charger.
Okay. And you looked down at your phone. So did you look up again to see if Antonio had actually gotten to the Charger?
No. I was on my phone.
Okay. Were you ever able to see Antonio at the Charger?
No.
No. Okay. Was there anything that drew your attention while you were on your phone?
I was on my
Looking down.
phone. And I heard gunshots. I didn't know it was in front of me. I was looking around like, where is it coming from? Then I looked at Tom. He's getting shot.
Okay. And do you recall how many gunshots?
No.
Was it more than one?
Yes.
And you said that Antonio got shot.
Yeah, I seen him. He started getting shot. Whenever I saw it,
Okay. And so where was Antonio when you saw him getting shot?
in the driveway, I think.
Okay. And in relation to that black Charger, do you know where he was?
Like by the driver door.
He was right by the driver door.
I think so, yeah.
And so like a foot away from the driver's door or how
I
close?
don't know how many feet, inches, centimeters, I don't know.
Within inches?
I don't know.
Well, objection, Judge. Characterization. That's not what the witness said.
Sustain the objection.
So maybe clarify, what did you mean by inches?
I don't know how many. I was basically saying I don't know how far apart he was from the car.
Okay. But you would describe him as close to the driver's
Yeah, I
side.
believe so. Yeah.
All right. Now, What, can you just describe what you observed as far as Antonio? Did he make any kind of motion or reaction when you looked at him?
When I saw him, he had his hands up. That was it. He had his hands up. That was it.
Okay.
And I got out the car.
All right. And did you see him make any other motion or see what happened to his body?
No.
Okay. So you didn't see him fall to the ground?
No.
Were you able to see bullets, or how did you know he was getting shot?
I heard him. I heard the shots, and I saw when I looked up, I heard the shots. I looked around. I looked at him. I seen him with his hands up. So that made me get out the car.
Okay. And then once you got out of the car, what did you do?
I ran towards the fence in the driveway, like to the little back part or whatever.
So you ran away from the Charger,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Now, while you were observing Antonio getting shot, were you able to see inside the Charger?
No.
Okay. So could you tell who was actually shooting?
No.
Which way was Antonio facing? Was he facing away from the Charger or towards the driver?
Say that again.
So Antonio, at the time that you saw him with his hands up, was he facing the car or was he facing
was
away
facing
from
the car.
He was facing the car.
Yeah.
Now, you ran away. Did you have an opportunity to look back at all when you were running away?
My bad. No.
You didn't look back towards the Charger.
No.
Okay. And where did you run to?
I ran behind the fence towards that house behind his house.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bell. There's
I
something
ran
funny.
towards the fence behind Tone's house. Like the house, like I ran towards the backyard,
Okay.
towards the little. I don't know.
And what did you do at that point? Did you stay there or did you come back?
I came back.
Okay. And so you came back to the scene where Antonio was shot.
Yeah.
And about how much time passed between you leaving and you coming back?
I say probably about probably a minute or two.
A minute or two?
Yeah.
And when you got back to the driveway, was that Charger still there?
No.
And did you see Antonio?
Yes.
And where was Antonio?
Laying on the driveway, in the driveway or the sidewalk. I don't remember. It was like one of the little areas. It was like close to that area. I don't know. It was like close towards the sidewalk, I think.
All right. You said he was laying?
Yeah, he was laying on his back.
Okay. And so anything else you can describe as far as was he moving or what was your
He was
observation?
still moving. Other than that was it.
Going back to when you were observing the Dodge Charger, were you able to see how many people were inside the car?
No.
Were you carrying a gun that day?
No.
And was Antonio carrying a gun?
No.
Now, at this time, when you saw Antonio on the driveway, did you attempt to contact 911?
No.
All right. Thereafter, did you contact 911 that day?
They contacted me.
Okay. When you say they, do you mean 911 or someone else?
Someone else.
Okay. And who's that? Who contacted
I
you?
think Detective Jacobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you never reported yourself on your own what
No.
you'd seen?
No.
And was there a reason why you didn't call 911 when you saw this happen?
I didn't want to be involved.
Now, again, you knew Antonio pretty well.
Yes.
All right. Were you aware of anyone wanting to kill Antonio?
No.
And is that something you had ever talked to Antonio about?
About somebody coming after him?
Yes.
Oh, no.
That's all, Your Honor. Thank you.
Questions, Mr. O'Farrell?
Thank you. You have been close to Antonio since you guys were real young, is that correct?
Yes.
Would you describe your relationship as good friends?
Yeah, yes.
And on that particular morning, you wanted to smoke some marijuana before you went to work, is that right?
Yep.
And so you spoke with Antonio, I believe you said for maybe an hour on the phone?
Yep.
And then you went over to the house and you were making the arrangements to get some marijuana for the two of you to smoke, is that right?
Yes.
And so then he joins you in your car?
Yep.
And at that point, you just don't remember about what time it was, is that correct?
Yep.
And shortly after you started out to go to where you wanted to make your purchase, he told you to turn around?
Yep.
And then you went back to the driveway that we see there, which actually faces on Lion Street, is that right?
Yes.
And you backed in?
Yep.
Was there any particular reason for you to back in rather than pull in?
I think I bagged them because we was probably gonna leave again. Yeah.
Did you plan on smoking your marijuana in the car?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, did Antonio Parham get out of the car before the charger got there?
Yep. Yep.
And then he's still communicating, or it appears he has his phone in his hand, is that right?
Yes.
And then the charger comes,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay? And you see the charger pull in, it just pulls into the driveway, is that right?
Yeah.
And so it's just past the sidewalk there. So did Mr. Parham walk up to it, or were you just not paying attention because you were on your phone?
I seen him walk up to it, and then I started getting back on my phone. Other
Okay.
than that, I didn't.
Okay. So did you see him actually get to the car before?
Yeah, I seen him walk up to it, and then I just started getting on my phone.
And then is that when you were distracted because of the shots?
Like when? Like immediately?
When you're back on the phone, you see him walking up to the car, and then you've already testified that gunshots startled you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do I have the sequence right? Is that when the gunshots startled you?
Like it wasn't immediately.
Okay.
Probably like, say about 30 seconds. Yeah. I can say about that. I was on my phone for about like a good minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many gunshots did you hear?
I don't know. I don't remember.
More than one?
It was more than one.
And then you got out of your car and you ran, right?
Yeah.
And you ran in the opposite direction from where the gunshots were coming.
Right.
And the gunshots had all ended before you got out of the car to run, I assume.
No.
There were still more
I
gunshots?
don't think so.
There were gunshots after you started running?
Yeah.
So the gunshots went on for a period of time?
I can't say that. I like a good 5 seconds after. Yeah, probably like
5 seconds?
Yeah, probably like a 5 seconds after I got.
So how many shots did you hear
I
after
didn't
you
hear it. I can't tell you how many shots I heard because I was in the car with music playing.
Well,
Right.
but when you
But-
get out of the car and start running, if you hear a shot, doesn't
You
that get
think-
your
I mean,
attention?
honest, to be honest, do you think I'm listening to how many shots when I'm trying to get?
No,
fight
I'm
for my
not
life?
trying to
No.
argue with you.
No, I'm saying,
To me, there's two situations, and let me finish my question.
Right.
Okay. You're sitting in a car and you hear gunshots, and then you see your friend with his hands up,
right,
appearing to have been shot. Correct?
right,
And you hear the gunshots in connection with that.
right,
You're telling the jury that then you got out of the car and started running and there's still more gunshots,
yeah,
but you don't know how many.
right,
And then you run away for a while and then you turn around and come back.
right,
I'm assuming there were no gunshots then.
right,
And by the time you get back, the charger's gone.
right,
But your friend is sitting there or laying in the driveway
right,
and he was moving
right,
and you did nothing to help him.
right.
Did you hear police sirens?
No, not no,
Not right then.
no,
But you got in your car and you started to drive away.
yeah,
And you drove away, and when you were driving away, you heard the police sirens, didn't you?
right,
But you still drove away.
right.
And you never tried to tell the police, you never tried to do anything for your friend, you never did anything like that, did you?
Right.
As you were leaving, did you see any neighbors or anyone reacting to what had just happened?
Yes,
Who did you see?
I saw the neighbor that stayed downstairs under him come outside and try to help Tom. But I was so distraught and mad, I left.
Was that neighbor a male or a female?
It was a male.
Did you, during the time that you were observing, see anyone put a blanket over Mr. Parham?
No, I didn't.
Gentleman in front of me right now, ever seen this man at all before the shooting?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen him in connection with this case at all, except when he's been in court when you've been testifying?
That's the only time I ever seen him.
Now, you were good friends with Antonio and you mentioned that he never mentioned to you anything about anybody wanting to kill him. Is that right?
Right.
Did he ever mention to you about him having killed Brandon Pennywell?
No.
You have any idea who Brandon Pennywell is?
I know him afterwards when he died. Otherwise, I didn't know him at all. Like I never seen him or nothing. I don't know.
But you know of him after he died?
Yeah,
Is that because of something you've read or heard?
like Facebook or whatever.
Oh, okay. Did Mr. Parham direct your attention to him at all before Mr. Parham died?
Say it again. Like, what are you trying to read?
Well, you mentioned that you became familiar with Brandon Pennywell through Facebook.
Like, afterwards he died, people was posting him talking about RIP him or something like that. Like, I don't know. I didn't know him.
Okay,
Yeah.
but those communications about RIP, that's rest in peace, right?
Yes.
So that was after the death of Brandon Pennywell, shortly after?
Yeah. Like I
Was-
saw it on Facebook, yes.
Okay. Did you do your own search of Facebook to get that information, or were you directed to that by Mr. Parham?
Oh, it was just Facebook. He never said nothing about him or nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know a lady named Lisa Curtis at all?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Fedora?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You may step down, Mr. Bell. All right. Call your next witness, Mr. Fedora.
People call Tyrone Griffin.
Griffin, come forward and be sworn, please. You may proceed.
Morning, Mr. Griffin. Thank you for being here this morning. Now, could you please state your full name for the record?
Tyrone Allen Griffin,
And how do you spell your last name
Griffin,
and your first name?
Tyrone, Tyrone.
Now, I'm going to draw your attention back to January 27th, 2018. Do you recall that day by the date?
No,
Okay. Now, you recall an incident in January 2018 where there was a shooting nearby your home, correct?
yes, I do.
All right. Now, at that time, and you correct me if I'm wrong, have you moved since?
Yes,
Okay. At the time of that shooting, what was your address?
611 South Porter Street.
And is that in Saginaw, Michigan?
Yeah,
And if you can answer with yes or no.
yes, okay.
Thank you. Now, and so you were at home that day. Can you just describe the event that drew your attention?
I was laying in my living room and I heard gunshots. I did that by.
Okay. So first, the gunshots, do you recall how many?
No,
All right. But plural, more than one,
more
correct?
than one.
Now, you said you're in your living room. Do you have a window out that looks outside?
Yeah,
And what can you see outside that window?
Porter Street.
All right. And how far away are you from Lyon?
It's literally a house or two away.
Okay. But you can't see Lyon Street from your living room?
No,
All right. Now, so when you heard the shots, what did you do?
well, at first I heard the shots, then I saw a car squeal past, and then once it squealed past me, I got up to go to my, I don't know, washroom, because that's where I heard the shots coming from, online, of course. So I went to my washing room and saw a body out on line.
Okay. And so for clarification, you said your washing room, is that like laundry room?
Yeah.
All right. And so that's a separate room, obviously, from the living room, correct? Okay. How long did it take you to get from the living room to the laundry room?
Less than a minute.
All right. And now, is there a window in the laundry room?
Yeah.
Okay. And does that look onto, what street does that look onto?
Lion.
Okay. You can see Lyon. And then you said that you saw a body.
Yeah.
Do you know the address of the house where you saw the body?
No, I just know that my driveway ended and the streets here and their driveway and that driveway.
Okay, let me just draw your attention. There's a monitor to my left, to your right, and it's People's Exhibit 20. Can you see that from where you are?
Yes, I can.
Does that look familiar to you?
That's the house and the driveway.
Where the body was?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just going to go back to you're in the living room. You said you saw a Dodge Charger drive by.
Yes.
Okay. And can you describe the Charger other than that?
It's black, tinted out, and had chrome accents.
All right. And the direction it was driving, was that towards Lion? Was that away from Lion?
Away from Lion.
Okay. And so which side of the vehicle could you see? The passenger side or the driver's side?
The passenger side.
And were you able to see inside?
No.
And so you mentioned some tinted windows, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And were you able to see through the tin as far as how many people were inside the car?
No.
Okay. And you couldn't see the driver?
No.
I'm going to show you People's Exhibits 14 and then 15. You can take a look at those. Those appear to be
Yes. Yes.
Just to be clear, so 14 passenger side vehicle, that's the side.
Yes.
Now, do you recall approximately the time of day that this all occurred?
Around noon.
And so going back to you leaving the living room and then going to your laundry room, how long after the Charger had driven off did you actually make that move?
Can you repeat the question?
So after the Charger had left your sight in your window, how long did you wait to go over to the laundry room?
I didn't.
You went right away?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said how long did it take you?
Under a minute. Just seconds.
All right. And then when you got to the laundry room, what you saw of 522 South Bond, well, the house driveway with the body in it, was there anyone else you saw other than the body?
I saw, I believe it was the couple who lived in that house. We're outside.
Okay. Were you sure that that was who it was, or you thought it might?
I just thought.
Okay. And are there multiple units in that house?
Not right away. It took a couple minutes for them to get there.
Sorry, let me clarify the question. Are there more than one party or family living in that house?
Not, I have no idea.
Okay. So you saw the two people. That was the first thing you saw when you looked out your laundry. Were there other people then that came after that?
Yeah, people started getting out of their houses to see what was going on.
Okay. And did you see law enforcement arrive?
Yeah, after a couple minutes.
Okay. And then did the people stick around or?
No, law enforcement made them go back inside.
Okay. And so just to clarify, you didn't actually see the shooting then, correct?
No.
All right. were you interviewed by law enforcement regarding the incident?
Yeah, by him.
Okay, you said him, you're pointing,
Yeah, I don't know his name.
okay. Let the record reflect that Mr. Griffin pointed to Detective Jacobs. Now, and where was it that Detective Jacobs spoke to you?
In my living room.
Okay. Was it the same day?
Yeah.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Questions, Mr. O'Farrell?
Thank you. Mr. Griffin, in the neighborhood there, as far as the streets running between, I'll say, Mason and the river, is, you know, the direction that, does that make clear to you the streets I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I hadn't lived in the area long enough to have a good map out of
Okay.
the streets around me.
Well, right there where you live then, your address was on Porter Street, right?
Yep.
Do you know if Bond was the next street over from Porter?
I know that one street is Lion. I don't know where, once again, I'm not in that area. I wasn't in that area long enough.
Okay. Do you know if Lion Street crossed Porter?
Yes.
Okay. And when you observed that Charger, it was driving fast?
Yeah, trying to, but it had just got around the corner, so it couldn't have gone too fast.
Okay. That's a residential area, speed limit 25?
Hmm.
You think it was up to 25 yet?
By the time I saw it, it was there. It probably hit 40 down that street. I don't know.
Okay. And when you observe it, the passenger side of the car is facing you?
Yeah.
So did you observe it drive away then?
No, as soon as it passed my window, I didn't look to see if it went down the street. As soon as it passed my window, I was already concerned with the gunshots, so I was heading that way.
In your brief observation of it, did you note if it had a license plate on it?
I couldn't tell you if it did or didn't.
Okay. The folks who came out after the gunshots, you associated two of the people, a male and a female, with the house there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So you had seen them before?
Yeah, never spoken to, but I've seen them leaving for work and such.
And then some other neighbors also came out before the police arrived?
Hmm.
Could you estimate how many
There was probably 10 plus people outside.
near the body?
Not that close. Just looking out of their homes, mostly.
Like from their porches and stuff where you could
Mhm.
tell they had come out?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, did you see anybody put a blanket over Mr. Parham?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was the person who was renting that house, and I'm pretty sure it was the male, but there was more than just them coming in and out of there, so I don't know.
So that person presumably saw what happened and then brought a blanket out, or did you see them come out and then go back in the house and get a blanket and come out and put it on?
I just know that when I was looking out my window, I saw he came out of his house. There was already someone outside, but he came out of his house and threw it on there. My guess is he saw it happen and went back in and grabbed it, but I don't know.
Sure. Okay. And were those people still in the vicinity and then the police officers ordered them to get away?
Hmm.
That's a yes?
Yes.
Okay. So your address was 611 South Porter. Did your driveway actually end on Lion Street though?
Yes, my driveway was on Lion. It was shared with my neighbor.
Okay. Would that neighbor still be in the 600 block?
Yeah.
Okay. But then a driveway associated with the house on the corner where you had observed these people,
Mhm.
was there a street in between there?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Fedora?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You may step in. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a short break. You can- Yes. You go with my clerk, please. Records to reflect the jury is not present at this time. Mr. Fedora, how many more witnesses do you intend to call before noon?
I have two present, and then one we're still waiting for. Actually, there's. Okay, and I may have a fourth coming, so.
Okay, there's relatively short witnesses.
Officer Hill will be short, Sergeant Volker won't be too long. Correct.
Okay. Anything else you want to place on the record at this time, Mr. Fedora?
No, Your Honor.